sex and they're doing, and it's like, well, do you remember what it was like when we were 16? And that's what I mean by the grass is greener on the other side. Sometimes you just have to maintain your own lawn. And now it's time for episode 167. What is happening, TwT fans? It is so good to be back on this June 15th, 2023, and I'm so glad to have you all back here with me. Before we get started with anything today, let me start off by saying thank you to all my subscribers, to all the new subscribers. You are what keeps me coming back here week after week. And if you're new to the podcast, subscribe. It's the one thing I'm asking everybody to do. It's free for you. This is not free to do. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, all right? If you want to get more involved with the podcast, the official email is talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. That's talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. Go ahead and send a video, all right? Audio, or type it out. But make sure you send it over to the official email of the podcast, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out the Linktree link. That's where you get everything TwT. It makes it that easy to share and spread around and to find everything I'm doing these days. So go into the description below the video, click the Linktree, and have access to everything TwT. It's just that easy. And with all that out of the way, let's start today's episode. All right. It has been a wild time. It has been, the temperature has been wild. It's been so warm. It's beautiful out. The sun's shining. And now all my ACs are in. Yay. Oh, man. Oh, well, what are you going to do? You go from staying warm all winter to staying cool all summer, right? But yeah, it's just been, one of those days. I got out of work and now all the ACs are installed and I'm excited for it. I hate installing them. I hate taking them out, but when they're done, it's nice. Yeah, school's closed today for Memorial Day, but it's always missed when school is closed, I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I just don't know. I was thinking about, do you ever get the feeling like the grass is greener on the other side? I think a lot of us suffer from this. I don't know if it's built into us or if we need it to have something else to strive for. And as long as we keep striving for what we believe in, it makes it all worth it. But why do most of us, I feel like almost all of us, think that the grass is greener on the other side? I definitely know the grass was greener on the other side when I left my position at New Hampshire Vape Gallery and started with Rap City. But there's been times in my life where I thought that what I was doing was not good enough, or I could be doing better if I was somewhere else or with someone else. And that's what I mean by the grass is greener on the other side. Sometimes you just have to maintain your own lawn. And then it will become green grass, and it will become something that you're happy about. But when you don't want to put in the work anymore, your grass is going to get brown. It's going to die. And you're going to be looking for greener grass on the other side of that fence. How many times have you... I know how many times I've thought that the grass was going to be greener and made a decision, turned out to be the wrong one. I mean, many times in my life. Many, many times. And today I realized that if I just keep maintaining my own lawn, that all of a sudden the grass stays green, which I believe is happiness, right? Because we're usually thinking about moving on when we're unhappy or unsure of what we're doing is actually worth it. And when you realize that it is actually worth doing, all of a sudden you're not thinking about the other side of the fence anymore. That's where I am right now. You know? Sometimes you don't want to put in the work anymore and you want to jump the fence. Well, how many times can you do that before there's no more fence to jump? There's no other side to go to. And then what are you left with? Are you left with somebody else's mess? Or are you just gonna go and take care of your own? You know? I've been thinking about it a lot lately. There's a couple things in my life that I wish were a little different, but I'm also realizing that they don't have to be different. The only reason that I want it to be different is because we all have wishful thinking, right? When you're moving in a certain direction, you want all those people that are moving in that direction, you want to be with them. You want to be around them. You want to be feeding off of that energy, and you feel like sometimes that what you have in your own life is not quite sufficient enough to what you're doing. So therefore, you start thinking, well, maybe if I leave this job and go to another one, it'll be different. Maybe if I leave this person and get with another one, that'll be different. Or maybe if I pack up and move out of my house and move into another one in a different area, well, that'll be different, right? And then that'll change everything. That'll make everything better. You know? But does it make everything better, or does it just restart the clock until you get back up to the exact same point in that new house, with that new relationship, or in that new job, where you go, it's not really any different on this side than it was that side. Or now I have more problems to deal with. Or maybe you have less problems to deal with. You never know what's going to happen. But what is that inside of us that tells us we need to do something better, do something different, change everything in order to feel better about ourselves? And does it always work? I think it doesn't. I don't think it does. I really don't. It really has to do with your state of mind, you know? And right now for me, I'm dealing with some neighbors next door and sharing a driveway, and my house needs a lot of work, and I'm tired of working on it. I feel like every time I work on it, something else breaks. But would moving solve that? Or would I just wind up with new problems? I just don't know anymore. Sometimes I think we like to spend a lot of time fantasizing about what could be, and that fantasy is the exciting part of it all. It's probably the best part of it all, right? Because now you're technically telling yourself that this is how it's going to be. You know? You ever fantasize about anything and you fantasize about you fantasize about it so much that you're basically telling yourself this is truth. But the problem with that is that when the reality finally gets there, you're like, this is exactly how this is going to go. And then it happens, and it's nothing like what you expected. I think that's the reality of this overused statement, the grass is greener on the other side. You fantasize, you think about it, you tell yourself it's going to be a certain way, and then when you finally do it, it's nothing like what you thought it was going to be. You know, I also, used to think that not having a drink was going to be something magical. And it's not. It's not magical. It's actually somewhat of a pain in the butt sometimes. I just spent the afternoon yesterday at my brother-in-law's for our niece's birthday, her third birthday. And it was a great time. It was awesome. Sun was out. Everybody's swimming, having a good time. We're all having fun, and everybody there's drinking, right? They're all drinking. And I obviously, I don't drink, as everybody knows. And so, my sister-in-law's sister's husband. God, it's so weird. When you say things like that, I find it weird. But, again, he only asked once this time. He nudged me on the shoulder and was like, "You want a drink?" And I'm like, "Buddy, we went through this last time I was over." He goes, I know. And I'm like, "No." But watching everybody drink, I was like, you know what? It's time to go smoke, right? It's time to go have a joint. So we go up to the car, and, my wife's like, "Oh, well, there's people over here." And I'm like, you know what? We walked away from the party. We're not in front of any of the kids. We're over by the car. We're out on the street, and my wife was she's like, "Well, what about everybody who's coming up to their cars or, walking?" And I'm like, "Hey, look, it's not like I lit up a joint and I'm sitting at the little petting zoo where all the kids are, just smoking away in front of the kids or, obnoxiously like blowing it around or being in the middle of everybody. But everybody is drinking. They're drinking around the kids. They're drinking at the little petting zoo. They're drinking while serving cake. They're drinking the entire time. So all these kids are exposed to alcohol, and this is okay, right? Because why? Because society has made it okay. And for some reason, it's not okay, even though it has been legalized, to smoke a joint. And my wife's like, "Well, we're up here and we're by the car, but we should be on this side." And I go, "Look, we've already walked away from the party. We're already excluding ourselves from everybody. Well, I'm not smoking a joint at the petting zoo in front of all the kids and doing this like they are with alcohol. I saw one of the adults with alcohol beverage in their hand, sitting down, petting the goats. You know, why is that okay today? And me smoking a joint so that I don't give into the urge to have a drink, why is that considered like not okay? Or why do we have to believe that it's any different from everybody else drinking right now? You know, we smoke a joint and we are drinking water the entire day, the entire time, staying fully hydrated, right? Fully engaged with everybody. But for some reason, it still weirds a lot of people out. Is it because it's just recently become legalized? Is it because people are so blinded by the fact that alcohol is everywhere? It's on TV advertisements. It's during every holiday. It's for every occasion, that it has been deemed okay to do these things in front of kids, where when we wanted to smoke pot, we literally had to go and hide ourselves and spray ourselves down with cologne and do all these things because it was so illegal at one point that you know, if you got caught with a joint, you were doing time. But I was like, look, it's legal now. We are in Massachusetts. This is no different than drinking. And even though I want to just light up a joint and sit at the bar while everybody's drinking and just smoke my joint and have a good time like everybody else is doing, I took the extra step, walked away from everybody, isolated ourselves, and did our thing. Now, if somebody comes up onto the street or they're doing whatever, how is that any of my, how is that my problem at that point? I don't think that it should be. I've already taken the extra step, right? But I'm not doing anything different than anybody else drinking a beer or an alcoholic beverage at that party. But I just think it's interesting that with legalization of marijuana and all the dispensaries popping up and all this stuff going on, that even today, I still kind of have to feel like I'm doing something wrong. And I'm so tired of feeling like I'm doing something wrong. Because the only time I'm doing something wrong is when I'm drinking. It's the only time. Drinking is just always gotten me into trouble. Smoking pot has never got me into trouble. And the way I see it, hey, if everybody's going to sit there and have a beer, then no one should be able to get upset if I go and smoke a joint and come back and everybody else is still doing their thing and now I've done mine. It just helps. It helps not drink. It helps take away all those cravings. It helps take away and destroy everything that I'm thinking at that moment, you know? And when I get this way, I don't like it because I know, again, I'm sitting here in my head battling of whether or not I want to drink. But that's the everyday battle. That's why this is not easy. That's why not everybody can do it, you know? I had a friend tell me once that, you know, my 5-day water fast was easy. It was very easy. And I told him that it's impossible. It's impossible for somebody to say that a 5-day water fast is easy. I haven't met one person yet that's actually done the water fast that says it was easy. The only reason I'm not doing those today is because I know I can stay away from a drink as long as I utilize all the tools that I provided for myself to avoid having a drink. One of those major tools is making sure that I smoke. You know, I feel like if I was to give up everything, that there would be a bigger chance of me falling down than doing it the way I'm doing it. I don't recommend the way that I'm doing it for everybody. Absolutely not. I don't think the way that I'm doing it is right for everybody. I know that it's right for me. But what also is right is the simple fact that everybody knows what I'm going through. And I know that nobody is ever going to say anything negative about us smoking because we are always respectful and never do it in front of the kids. But yet, again, it's still okay for everybody to be drinking and doing all these things. I mean, here's an example, okay? And I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. But my brother-in-law, sees the kids, and they have these little tiny Sprites. And they are trying to shotgun them. Like you would a beer, pop the fucking hole in the side, crack the top, and down the Sprite. My brother-in-law grabs a beer and goes, I can beat all of you. So they all sit there and shotgun. He's got a beer, and they have little tiny Sprites. And they're all sitting there shotgunning. We watched it. Why is that okay? But yet, if I wanted to smoke a joint in front of everybody, then I would be in the wrong. Isn't that crazy? I think it's crazy. I was like, what is happening right now? And it was like, well, why are we encouraging this? They don't need to practice that, right? That's not exactly something you want them practicing. Now, was it hilarious? Was it fun? Was it entertaining? Yeah, it was all of those things. I was like, look at these guys. They're shotgunning Sprite. But at the end of the day, alcohol destroys so many lives. And I believe that marijuana does not destroy lives. The war on drugs and the misinformation that has been fed to us over the last 100 years about marijuana is the problem. And that's why today I'll do what's necessary, but I'm not going to be made to feel like I did something wrong by smoking a joint and not having a drink. Because I know deep down inside that that was the right decision for me. Well, it's summer. That's right. It's here officially. And you know what that means? We got to go to Slow Down Clothing. These guys have it all. Shirts, hats, you name it, they got it. I mean, they got new stuff all the time. It's amazing. The collection keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. Look at all these new designs to slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com. That's right, slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com. Where are you getting your summer gear this year? Huh? Where are you getting it? Let me tell you where you're getting it. You're getting it where you can save some money, and I'm going to help you save some money this year. All you have to do is put in the promo code. Huh? That's right. TOPHER. Put that promo code in before you check out, and it's going to save you an extra 10% off your entire purchase. It's time for the beach. Beaches? Yeah, so get your towels, get your swim shorts, and don't forget about all the rest of the great stuff that you can get from this amazing website today. Not only do they have clothing, but they've also got kids' tees, they've got skateboards, and I mean so much more. The list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. This website just keeps growing and the selection just keeps getting better. So remember, go to slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com today and let TWT save you some money on your summer gear this year by putting in promo code TOPHER before you check out for an extra 10% off that purchase. You can only do it here. Slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com and let TWT save you some money today. I finally found myself after 37 years. 37. I keep telling my friend Tyler, he's like, I'm doing this and I'm trying this and da da da. I'm like, man, keep doing it. Because when I was your age, I was not doing those things. I was not. They weren't even on my radar. And I'm telling you right now, if you are finding yourself or you found yourself and you know who you are and you're confident in that, that's everything. That's everything. It's so important. I never realized how important it was to have an opinion, to be able to do certain things, to be able to talk to people, to have friends that I've known for years say, wow, your vocabulary is getting really good. And it's like, man, that is great. It's like when I try to tell stories. I can't tell a story about my past because I can't remember them. I listen to all these comics and all my friends and all these people, family members. They have all these crazy stories of when they were kids, of what they used to do in their youth. And I try to reflect and think about what I did, and it is so spotty. It is so few and far in between that I can remember. I can remember the really bad ones because most of that was told to me. But even some of the good things that I've gone through in my life, I can't fucking remember them. I can't. And that to me is probably the most frustrating thing about all the drinking I've ever done, is the not remembering what happened. What did I do? What was it like being young, you know? And it's like I'm watching my two nephews right now. They're both just turned 16. And, you know, on one side, you got my older nephew. He's the complete opposite of what I ever was. I mean, just got his head on his shoulders, works 3 jobs, does jujitsu, bought his own car. I mean, the kid's going places, right? And he's found himself. He knows who he is. He's confident in himself. And then I got my other nephew. He hasn't found himself. He doesn't know who he is. And he's struggling. He's struggling like I used to. He's, you know, he was in jiu-jitsu, he was in the karate, and now he's found himself drinking and smoking and vaping and doing all this stupid shit that I used to do. And I'm like, holy crap, he is, wow, that brings back some memories. Like, only the memories that I can remember, you know, the way I used to dress, the way I used to act, the stupid shit, what I cared about when I was that age. But it's like all the adults are like, oh no, you know, he's you know, they're having sex and they're doing, and it's like, well, do you remember what it was like when we were 16? I mean, I kind of remember what it was like when I was 16 because I was drinking, but I wasn't like drinking when I was, no, well, yeah, when I was 16, I wasn't drinking, but I was drinking. But like, I mean, I lost my virginity when I was 16. You know, I had already been smoking and other stuff, but like, I mean, that's a very common age to lose your virginity. And I was like, wait a minute. I know you don't want them to, but why is it when we get older, right? And I'm starting to notice this now because I don't have kids, so I didn't see this coming. But now my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, all these people, their kids are turning 16, and they're like, oh my God, I caught him doing this and I caught him doing that. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we all did. We all did that. We all had sex. I mean, some of us waited till we were 18. Some of us were 14. Some of us were 16. That 14 to 21, that's when you figure this all out. You know, I'm not saying that like I figured it all out. I didn't know myself. I thought I was going to have piercings in my face, and I was going to have giant holes in my ears, and I was always going to be listening to rap music, and I couldn't wait till I had kids so that like they could listen to all the music that I loved and I could share it with them. And it's like now at this age, I wouldn't want them listening to anything I listened to when I was 16. Even though that's what shaped me and made me the person that I was. I'm like, man, I would never want them listening to that because of all the words in it. That would be something that they would have to be older to listen to. But I did think at one point, I was like, no, they're going to listen to all of this. They're not going to listen to that. They're going to do this. And now with all of them getting older, now it's like all those parents forgot what it was like to be 16. They're like, I can't believe it. Oh, he's too young. It's like, wait a minute. No, he's the right age. He's the right age. You gotta allow him to experiment. You gotta allow him to make unfortunate, poor choices. It's not easy. And I'm not saying like I'm telling them to do this, but I was thinking about it as it was happening in front of me. And I'm like, holy crap. Even we forget what it was like to be that age. And we always thought that it was our parents that were crazy. Like, what do you mean? I'm doing this stuff. You never did this? No, I never did this. You know, my mom was always one of those people that were like, I tried marijuana once and it didn't work for me. So I didn't like it. And it's like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I've heard that now. Now I think about it and I'm like, yeah, that's probably not possible. Or you didn't really try it. But why is it that we forget? Huh? What was it like? You know, I think sometimes it's better. And I know I don't have kids. I know. But in my mind, in theory, right? Because we like to theorize a lot. We like to always think that things can be better or done differently. Or if we do them this way, it would work out better than the way my parents did it for me. But yet, we always wind up doing the exact same thing our parents did, which is, well, forgetting what it was like to be that age, expecting them to be better than we were at that age. But that's just that age, you know? I believe that life is on this cycle of this is how it's always going to be, you know? The younger generation always wants to do what the older generation is telling them not to do. And a good example of this is watching my niece in the pool and watching all my nephews in the pool. They're all in the deep end. She's got her little floaties on, and they keep telling her to stay in the shallow end. And all she wants to do is go in the deep end. That's because that's where you are. That's where the older people are. They always want to do what the older people are telling them not to do. And so this endless cycle happens over and over and over again. And it's just interesting to be where I am today and to see it, realize it, and go, oh, nothing nothing is really that different. It's actually almost always the same. I don't know about you, but watching the younger generation come up, watching them do the same silly things that we all used to do. Instead of, smoking cigarettes, now they're vaping. Instead of drinking, now they're trying to get, the edibles. But I mean, it was so hard to get pot when I was a kid. It was really something, you know. But just like anything, it gets easier with time. And then when you have nieces and nephews and daughters and sons and stuff like that, as this stuff becomes legal and we've already found our way around all the headaches in life, when do you get to the point where you go, all right, well, if you really want to try this, right? When do you go, just ask me, just talk to me? Because I would rather have you talk to me than anybody else. Instead of taking that chance of talking to somebody that may not give you the truth, or they might sell you something that's bad. When is it okay to step in and change that? Because I know my dad and my mom were never one for anything, right? My dad drank, he smoked pot, he did all kinds of fucking pills and shit when I was a kid. He was into drugs. He was into them as much as I was. I think I took it to a different level, but that's because we had different drugs available to us. Just like today, the drugs that I used to do when I was a kid are not the same as what they're doing as kids today. They're different. I mean, some of the shit out there is wild. But when do you, as a parent or an uncle or an aunt, when is it do you go, hey, they're getting older, they're kind of getting into some stuff, so if you ever need, if you ever need something, like, you know what I mean, don't just call me. Just call me. I'll help you out, and then you can help them out. And that way, they can get the experience with the supervision of adults being around. And I'm not saying like throw a party and have all their friends over and this and that, but like if you notice that, like, because I don't have kids, right? So I always thought about this, and I was like, well, if my kids ever got into a position where they wanted to start smoking pot, right? Well, I'm not going to let them just go buy pot from somebody, because I also thought that pot was still going to be illegal today. But I always thought to myself, hey, if they're going to get into it, they're going to start experimenting, they want to start asking questions, well, then I'm just going to help them out. I'm going to be the one to show them, to supply it for them, to make sure I'm there. And okay, I may not, do it with them, or maybe I will, whatever breaks that ice and makes it easier so that they're not resistant, but also you don't want them dependent on you either. So I guess it would be a very touchy subject in a sense for a lot of people out there. And look, I'm not looking to say whether or not what you're doing is right or wrong. I'm just saying, like, what do you do? What do you do? What is the plan for that? You raise your kids, and then all of a sudden they become young adults. And now they want more. They're getting their driver's license, they're buying cars, they're holding a job, and now they want to do some shit. They want to get into some stuff. And with the way things are today, unfortunately, the first time could be the last time. And it's like, well, if they really wanted to try something, it's like I would rather be that person that could help them with what they want, but at the same time, I don't want to be something that their parents don't want. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm like, man, these kids, they're growing up. They're all growing up, and they're all gonna try shit. And I never want to hear of a bad thing happening to any of them. This fentanyl shit's no joke. I worry about it a lot. With a lot of different people, a lot of family members and stuff like that. It's like, stuff is so dangerous today, It's like, what do you do about that? How do you resolve that? How do you help with that without making it look like you're pushing it onto them? I mean, who's to say that some of the kids haven't had a drink already, right? And it's like, if they are having sex, then, I mean, that's when I started. And hopefully whatever you've taught them, they've learned and they're smart about it. But they're not all going to be smart about it. I don't know. Am I a bad person for wanting to help out like that? Should I keep to myself? Or should I just wait until somebody actually asks me? But I know that I got to cut it a little short. Everybody, I just hope you have an enjoyable start to your summer. All right? I really do. Because it's here, right? 6 days away from today. So the official start of summer. It's exciting. It's getting hot out. And I think it's going to be an awesome summer. And what's going on with you? Send me your stories, okay? I'm looking for everybody's stories out there, your struggles, what you've gone through, where you've been, and how you got to where you are today. So go ahead and send those out to the email. Of course, thank you again for subscribing. Remember to subscribe. If you're new, just swinging by, checking it out, hit that subscribe button. And of course, don't forget to go check out everything TwT on the link tree. Yeah, go to the description in the video, click that link tree, and go check out everything TwT. It's just that easy. And then I hope everybody out there has an amazing Thursday. Enjoy your weekend. And as always, I will talk to you later.